Ramble.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode.
Raw Rubber House, welcome to Guilty Pleasures. It's spooky season, baby.
Yeah, my favorite
We're here.
Spooky season, boys. Spooky time. Spooky boys.
Aaron, a.k.a. Kelsey disappears for a month.
This whole month, we've got not 4, but 5 Mondays in October.
We do?
Yeah, we got
God
a
damn it.
bonus episode. So we're bringing you all the spooky all the time. Today, we are talking about Monster House, a little animated gem from the 2010s that you may have missed. But what if I told you that this was a Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis produced film co-written by Rick and Morty's Dan Harmon? You'd be like, damn, how have I never heard of that movie? For those who are not watching over on youtube.com/wherever you find this, Kelsey is
Eating a ding dong.
slow. Oh, I thought they were yodels. What's the difference between a yodel and a ding dong?
No, you're right. It's a yodel.
It's a yodel?
Here's the thing. You're making me watch scary movies. Mama's going to eat some comfort food.
What I love about this too is that you're slowly like shoving it in your mouth and it's just caked under your fingernails.
You save it for later.
Just all over you. We're talking about Monster House. This is a movie that I had not seen, but had heard so many people talk about how this was one of the overlooked gems of the last couple of years. That it was this animated movie that never got the time of day. I think part of it was maybe that it was quite cheaply produced. It certainly, I need you to know, just as we go in.
You definitely feel that.
It is, okay, you know how people say that the Polar Express is like the uncanny valley where like it's animated, but they have this like this makes Polar Express look like Michelangelo.
Yeah.
This movie is the most disturbingly animated, and there's some of the animation that's really cool. We'll get into it, but from the beginning, well, actually, I should do the synopsis. God, where are my manners? I forgot how this show
You
works.
weren't here for 2 weeks, by the way, and we had the best time ever for me hosting. We even came up with new segments.
I heard about that. Do you want to lead? Because I kind of feel like I'm out of it.
You're sad?
No. Yes.
Okay. I've got you, Zach.
Thanks.
This is what friends are here for. And
Yeah.
I was just kidding. We missed you.
Your hands are so cold from the yodel.
It's dead inside.
Oh my God, you're freezing.
Monster House takes place with a trio of friends. No, it's not Harry, Ron, and Hermione. It's DJ, Cheddar, and a fucking redheaded girl who are friends, and they have a house across the street that's haunted. It's a monster. The actual house is haunted. It's got eyes for windows and teeth for a door, and it keeps trying to eat children on Halloween. And the trio of friends has to figure out how to kill the monster before trick-or-treating. This is Monster House. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, fucking crush that. What I think is super fun about this movie and the concept is that it takes. We have Hippo, the dog here.
No, I was laughing that you actually liked that logline pitch.
I thought you crushed it.
Okay, thanks.
If you hear a little ruffle in the background, Hippo is
You can't hear shit.
slowly destroying a soccer ball. Okay. What I think is super dope, what I love about the concept is that we all had that spooky house in the neighborhood where there was the creepy old man who lived there. He yelled at you to get off his lawn.
Yeah.
Anything that fell on the lawn, you never see it again.
Sandlot.
It's his
Sandlot
now.
status.
Yeah.
Usually it was
Sandlot.
because something went over the fence and like, you can't go over there. Old man Wilkins lives over there. But this takes that concept a step further and says, what if the house itself was actually eating things? So you know that kite that got lost on the neighbor's lawn?
He ate it.
He ate it. You know, your little tricycle? He ate it.
He ate it.
You know that pizza delivery man who went missing? He ate it.
He ate him.
Do you guys have a spooky
How
house
how
that you
delayed
remember?
am I?
You're delayed. You're not delayed at all, Garrick. I think we're perfectly in sync.
No, that's not. That's not.
Count
what's
to
happening.
three with us. Ready?
One.
All right.
2.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, there it is. Yep. As soon as the laugh came in, I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, no, you're fucking delayed. Did you guys have a spooky house on your street? We had one, and it was a lady
had one
who
on-
lived there, and it turned out she was not spooky. She had cancer.
Oh God.
Oh God. We had a couple mean people. We had a house where a lady never left. And then we had another house that belonged to she was on the U.S. Olympic basketball team.
Wow.
Back in like the 60s. So she was a little older and pretty small, like really a lot shorter than you would think somebody who played basketball. She was probably like my height.
Damn.
So
and she was spooky?
Yeah, that was, and she was just mean.
Oh,
she was just mean.
Got it.
Maybe just like intense because of all the racism she has to deal with.
Probably.
But other than that,
got it.
Yeah.
Checks out.
I mean, while we're talking about the house, I would say my truest pleasure of the movie is I think that the character, we'll talk about the animation in a second, but the character design of the house is so dope.
It's great.
When it comes to
It's so
life,
good.
it like, and Garrick, maybe you can jump in here as our animation aficionado.
The animation on it is great. Like the way that it furrows its brow, the way that the tongue works, the way that the which led to one of my favorite jokes, the uvula inside of the house.
But you've got these like sharp
house.
That's crazy.
So funny.
You've got these sharp, razor sharp planks of wood for teeth. You've got these the carpet that unfurls like a tongue. It can even use different parts of the house as appendages. So one of my favorite sequences, the walkway up to the house, you have different concrete planks shooting up into the air, trying to push the children into its mouth.
Yeah, because it only eats children.
Really spooky.
Which feels like a little bit like a pedo
it's pretty
moment,
creepy.
doesn't it?
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it like doesn't eat adults.
Yep.
It prefers young children.
Yeah.
And we find out why later, which I don't want to spoil it, but did feel a little ageist.
The house is a little creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The house is canceled.
Yep. House is canceled.
House is a little creepy. But like also the same shit with it. It's just like it's stealing the children.
Is it because they're so innocent?
That, where it's just like they're the most vulnerable. They're so innocent. They're so vulnerable. And it's like Pied Piper shit. It's just like if you go after children, you're obviously a psychopath.
Yeah. Facts.
So
Checks out.
why not make the house that?
Yeah.
You know what? The house does eat some older people. The house eats some cops. We stand.
We were like, deserved.
The house does eat some cops.
Deserved. I mean, one of the cops was black and very funny, and we liked him. But
Voiced by Nick Cannon.
Is it Nick Cannon?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew I recognized
it's
the voice.
so funny that whenever they want you to like the cops, they buddy them up with a black cop.
Yep.
It's just like, all right, just know
they're humans
he's fine.
too.
They're friends.
Yeah.
The cast, so if you didn't
so weird.
notice the cast, okay, you've got Steve Buscemi as Nebercracker, the evil, creepy old man. Disney Channel, Hannah Montana's Mitchell Musso as DJ. I know that means something to some people out there.
Mitchell Musso.
But then in the supporting cast, you've got Maggie Gyllenhaal as Z, John Heder as a video game head, Kevin James and Nick Cannon as the cops, Fred Willard as the dad, Catherine O'Hara as the mom.
What?
Fucking and Jason.
Was this Allison Jones? Who casted this?
Jason Lee as Bones.
Wow.
The hot boyfriend. You got a pretty stacked cast over here.
Wow. Yeah. I knew I recognized some voices, but they weren't distracting. Like we've talked about in animated films before that we've done, where I just believed that they were children.
I was actually distracted by Steve Buscemi doing a slightly different voice. Like, Steve Buscemi, you have one of the greatest, weirdest voices of all time.
Yeah.
Why are you playing an old creepy guy?
That old creepy guy really did scare the shit out of me. I was like, you said, these aren't very scary movies, Kelsey. It'll be fine. That man, okay, the way that the animation, okay, this man is decrepit. He's basically got like green skin and missing teeth. He's real spooky, like a little bit meth head looking. And
he runs like a spider creature.
Yes, he's bony as hell.
The movie is mad creepy, and I feel like the animation lends to that.
Let's talk about it.
The animation is very James and the Giant Peach.
I was gonna say Roly Poly Oly. Remember Roly Poly Oly?
Yeah.
Where like it feels hella distorted and slow frame rate.
The movie opens on a leaf, and it's this beautiful close up of an orange leaf. It almost looks like capillaries and blood, and you're like, "What is this?" And then it zooms out, and we go down, we follow the leaf, and then reveal the ugliest little girl you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to be cute. She's riding a tricycle. Like la 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 la, but she looks fucking
up.
Nightmare fuel. Just cannot fully explain how awfully horrific.
It's warped.
It is.
It's such warped animation.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, I feel like that's why you get all of these cute animations, because it's like, all right, we need to make everybody look adorable, because if we go the other route and everybody's ugly, you get this movie.
Their eyes
you
are
get everything
lifeless.
overlooked. Even Tim Burton movies they're animated, but they're creepy, but they're still like cute.
They got big eyes
for the most
got big
part. They got big eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many moments in this movie where characters are looking at each other, but their eyes are just floating in a different direction.
You know what this looks
Yeah.
like? You know when you're watching like a behind the scenes Pixar or any kind of like animated movie and it goes over like the layers that it
Yeah.
takes? It's like the third layer of a finished animation when they're supposed to be like 20, where it was like someone just didn't flesh out the details in any of this. And the color palette was weird.
They fired the last key artist. You know, like that's it. They're just like, nah, fuck him.
Remember when I met you, Garrick, I told you I can't watch animation because it makes my tummy hurt sometimes? You might not remember that interaction
weird
from
thing
7 years ago when we met.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, I remember. And then I was like, you should watch Rick and Morty.
Yeah, and then I was like, wow, this cured me. This movie brought me back to, bad animation makes me feel an upset tum-tum. That's why I had to eat that yodel to feel better.
Do you know what it is that makes your tum-tum hurt? Because that's really weird.
It's the and people, my anxiety queens will understand. It's when you have anxiety and you're having like a disassociative moment in your life. And you look down at your hands and you're like, I see my hands, but they don't feel like my hands. They don't look like my own hands. Like, whose hands are these? It looks like that.
Yeah. So this movie is so spooky, it will trigger dissociative behavior.
Depersonalization
That's a spooky
disorder.
movie.
I told you I hated this.
You hate it? I think that's okay. It's because on the animation, I feel like what's weird is that it seems like they spent their budget on like 3 shots. there are a few shots that are like really fucking cool.
I think they spent it all on the house, because the house's animation is so crazy
and intricate.
And then especially in that last sequence when it turns into what it actually is, and you're like, oh, this is where they got the idea for Nope. But even still, like when it turned into its actual thing, you're like, this is fucking crazy. That's a lot of planks pointing out. That's a lot of assets that they had to animate.
2 trees go like turn into its arm, and you have this house with 2 tree trunks running through a neighborhood. It's like really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a sequence where he's swinging on a crane with a stick of dynamite, and it's like full superhero. And the animation of that sequence is could not be further from the way that the rest of the movie looks.
Yeah. I feel like we need to break down the 3 main characters so that like we understand exactly who we're working with here, because they are really good stereotypes.
You've got DJ, who's the little bitch.
Yeah, he's like Zach as a child.
He's like, imagine if I were even more insufferably myself.
Like very like follows the rules, but not afraid to defy his parents' orders, but like wants to be liked by his friends, but isn't also accepted by the popular crowd.
Talks like this, and oh boy,
anxious,
here
an
we
anxious
go.
mess.
And he's got that fucking long oblong egg head, and you're just super mad that he's in the movie.
So we all knew a kid that looked like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, why is that so
And you wanted
specific?
to hit him.
And his eyes are kind of hollowed out underneath. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Y'all know me and the Guilty Pleasure boys have been stressed out lately. Have you been on the internet? Just kidding. So glad that we have BetterHelp therapy. I was inspired to try therapy on BetterHelp years ago when the panini started. I knew that I didn't want to worry about parking. I didn't want to go sit on someone else's couch and cry tears that someone else had just cried upon that couch. And BetterHelp is convenient, it's accessible, it's affordable, and entirely online. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists anytime. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/guiltypleasures today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/guiltypleasures. So then you have Chowder, who I keep calling Cheddar because 8 Mile. But Chowder is a...
I kept calling him Chuffer in my notes. And then at one point I wrote him as Smudge.
That's hilarious.
He is...
Chowder is the Carl of this
There
movie.
you go.
To where every time he came on screen, I was so mad.
I hate this kid.
I was like, get this fucking kid
Annoying.
off of this screen. I hate him. He's like a weird bitchy
He eats his boogers
bully.
for sure.
That's the other thing. Like, there's nothing that makes me more upset than a bully that won't do the thing.
Yeah.
That's also scared.
Yeah.
It's just like, don't force me into, into this. And then you also don't believe me when I'm trying to tell you that this house is trying to kill you.
And then he fucks around and he finds out.
What's wild about Chuffer is that Smudge is introduced as who should be the comic relief, right?
Yeah.
He's the boisterous, chubby best friend.
Yeah.
He wears a cape, and you're like, this is gonna be like comedy gold. This kid's gonna rule. He sucks.
He's
Scaredy
boy.
He's mean. He's scared. He's demeaning. He's not. His jokes aren't funny.
Guys, have you ever thought that maybe he's struggling with his own self-confidence?
He should be, because he sucks.
I was trying to do
I
a
don't think
character.
that he should be confident.
It's giving like Ron Weasley in the way that he's kind of like the Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Without saying it out.
Yeah,
loud.
but Ron Weasley is a sexy
Garrett,
boy.
we're talking
So
about
it's
the
just like,
first when we're introduced to them. They were all derpy little
Not
twerps.
everything can be viewed through the lens of Harry Potter.
Yes, that's my entire personality, guys.
And Kelsey, I knew what you were talking about, and I still stand on
Okay,
it.
fair. I would love to be proven wrong by Garrett.
Yeah.
I want to introduce this. I think that Cheddar is a Blue Lives Matter fuck.
Oh, yeah. He
Go
was like,
on.
he was way too excited.
He
was way too excited when the cops
Yes.
came. He was like, oh, yes, they got the police. They can arrest this house because it's black, I guess. I don't know. Like, that was a very
The house was black.
very weird interaction.
He goes up to the cops and is like, hello, officer. My cousin is a cop in Milwaukee. Well, he has a gun. Excuse me, Chuffer. Where the fuck were you on January 6th?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't trust
Yeah.
a word out of this
Yeah.
little bitch-ass kid's mouth.
Yeah.
At all.
And then you've got
I hate you so
what's the
much.
girl's name?
I have no idea.
No one remembers.
Which is
It was like, it's like redhead. Let's just call her Ron.
Garrick, her name is not Redhead.
Let's find out.
It is redhead.
It's like
Jenny.
sure.
Anyway, they all looked really
And
weird.
she's
They all
given
looked
Hermione.
so weird
She's
to where I just
stuck up prep school girl.
Very smart.
Very smart.
You introduce her. She's trying to sell Girl Scout cookies or some shit like that with the disaffected babysitter. She uses her smarts and's like, look, girl, you're going to do this. You're going to give me that. Let's pocket the money. Let's cut the chase.
Yeah, she's like a wheeling and dealing Hermione.
I will point out she's introduced
Yeah.
in a scene with another female. This movie passes the Bechdel test, a.k.a. it's woke as hell. That's the best.
Does it? Does it?
Yeah, they're talking about...
They talk about her boyfriend though.
No, but they're talking about cookies.
No, they talk about the boyfriend.
They're talking about candy.
The babysitter goes.
They
if-
have at least
if
3
you want-
lines consecutive where they talk
It's
about
only
candy.
3. That's our That's our
The
bottom
Bechdel
line.
test is not a good test.
Got it.
It's meant to show how bad every other movie doesn't pass.
Didn't the Bechdel test person who invented it say this was not meant to be used as a test like this, and all you guys are idiots for doing so?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
cool.
meant it facetiously.
Got it.
It's
I don't-
it's
I
more
don't know.
meant to show how low of a bar it is that most movies can't even pass that.
Got
but
it.
by passing it, that doesn't mean that you have a woke movie, as I said.
Got it.
Oh, got it.
Because all it is that two women have a conversation for 3 lines about not another man.
Like I said, I'm not confident that this did pass.
Probably not. Well, she was a part of a group,
Yeah,
though. Does that help?
sure.
There wasn't another woman she could talk to. So, yeah, by default.
Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't pass.
You're
at all.
right.
These two kids, they lay their eyes on Jenny and they immediately start fighting over who is going to get to date her. And honestly, screw them both.
Yeah.
I thought bro code was
Yeah.
was blood, man.
I thought. What about
Yeah.
what?
I thought
we
that
ever
part
thought about
was-
what Jenny might want?
Yeah.
Well, who does Jenny want to date?
Who's Jenny want?
Maybe Jenny's a
wants
big old
DJ,
fucking rug muncher
obviously.
and likes chicks. We don't know. Sorry.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe
just
when
assumed.
the house put out the rug, she was like, I want to eat
Yeah,
that.
she had her tongue out like.
Maybe Jenny is a big
I'm trying to eat
old
that.
rug muncher. I mean, okay,
She was very interested in the female.
She was.
I'm just saying.
Spoiler alert.
The black female house, as we've established.
Oh yeah.
The black female
Spoiler
house,
alert.
which is very cool.
You know, I had a question throughout watching this movie of who was this made for?
You know, and I think the answer is Children of the Corn.
Oh.
Or scarecrows or farmers.
Oh.
Because like okay,
You think
so
it was made for creepy
in
children?
actuality,
Yeah.
I think it was made for kids that really love Courage the Cowardly Dog. Like all of that like group of kids are just like, all right, I like Courage, but I'm not like, I don't like it that much. It's kind of weird. I can't just sit down and watch an episode of Courage when it's on. But if you're watching it already, sure. But I'm not going to like turn to it. Anybody that like turns to Courage the Cowardly Dog, they're like a little off, you know, they might be, you know, killery, you know?
It's just like the movie is, I would say, probably too spooky for young kids.
Oh yeah, dude. The first act
Yeah.
that happens is the kid tries to Sandlot go over to the old man house, and they basically write that the old man, while he's lifting up the kid by the collar saying, "Don't come in my yard," has a heart attack and dies on top of DJ. His old
horrific.
creepy old man teeth. Is there anything scarier than old man teeth? Absolutely not.
An old man has a heart attack
On top
and
of a boy.
dies in the first act on top of a child. That is so deeply horrific, so deeply traumatizing. If I were a parent and I brought my kids to this movie, I'd be like, we're fucking out of here.
Leaving.
How am I going to explain this to my kid? What is going on? Then this movie, as is tradition on this show, is horny as hell.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a scene where the babysitter and Bones are like leaning in to make out, and as she's leaning in, she's like licking her lips, and then when she doesn't make out and kicks him out, he's like, prude.
Oh.
This movie is, I think, the only movie I've ever seen that I'm like, oh, it's actually PG. Because it's not PG-13. It's not for kids. This is like,
This is solid PG.
this is just true PG.
Back from
well,
that.
I want to talk a little bit about a personal connection here because
Okay.
I was so stoked when this movie came out because I was a huge Dan Harmon fan, not from Rick and Morty, not from Community, but from Channel 101. And I'm wondering if anyone out there remembers what is one of the essential building blocks of the early internet. And
I don't recall.
it was so exciting and cool to me to watch these people who I loved and admired on online video start to break into Hollywood. So Channel 101, do you remember it, Garrick? Did you watch?
Oh yeah. Of course. I was one of those people that saw it and wanted to submit.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, oh yeah, I'm making little sketches. I can put up a little sketch if I wanted to. And then I think I caught it at the tail end. Because this was around the time when he was already in the community space.
Okay, so you were later than me.
This was like well past his run on Sarah Silverman's show.
So I should explain what it is Channel 101 was this online competition. Once a month, you would make a show. The episodes had to be 5 minutes and no longer, not a second longer. And then there would be a live screening and people would vote. 5 shows would get chosen to go to the next, to have another episode. Everything else would get canceled. So it was democratic TV. So based on the quality of your episode, people would vote if they want to see more or not. So you would have some shows that would last a year and a half. Some shows would only get 3 episodes and then they would get canceled. But I want to tell you, I mean, the talent here. You had Dan Harmon and Rob Schrab, who co-wrote this with Dan Harmon. You had The Lonely Island. That's where they got
Rob
their
Schrab.
start.
What?
Yep. I knew I was a huge Lonely Island guy
Yeah.
before they were on SNL.
That checks
You
out.
had Jack Black filming with him, with Dan Harmon. I'm trying to remember. There were so many.
What channel was this on?
It was called Channel 101. It was a website.
It was online. Oh my God, just hearing that, I miss websites so much. I hate that everything is just consolidated on Facebook or Twitter
Apps.
or
Call me
YouTube.
apps.
Going 7th grade, going home to the computer and typing in Derek comedy.
E-Bomb's
oh my
World
fucking
for
God.
me.
I was like, E-Bomb's World, Z-Thing was another one.
I was a big Yahoo.com
what was
homepage
that
kind
other
of gal.
one? Homestar.
Homestar Runner.
Homestar
Don't even get
Runner.
me freaking started. One of my favorite Channel 101 series was created by Justin Roiland, who is
Your boss.
thank you. One of my favorite. I'm like
House
my
of
house
Copy.
is fucking.
Yeah.
Or my brain is really stuttering today. My house. One of my favorite Channel 101 shows was created by Justin Roiland, who went on to create Rick and Morty and executive produce Solar Opposites with Garrick Wrights on. Was this show animated show called House of Cosby's? It was before we all knew that Bill Cosby was a terrible person, but this show did give some signs. It was this guy who would clone Bill Cosby because he was a huge Bill Cosby fan, but they were all a little off. And then every 10th Cosby had a superpower. It was so stupid, so funny, the worst Bill Cosby impressions ever. And Bill Cosby found out and hated it so much that he issued a cease and desist.
What?
And got it scrubbed from the internet. And
Shit.
And that was the first moment where I'm like, maybe Bill Cosby sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not a great guy. Well, I mean, he did the whole pull up your pants speech, and that was the first.
Oh, I don't know that.
Like, oh my God, I think it was at the BET. I don't know.
Oh,
one
I
of these
remember, like with your
awards.
pants sagging
Those.
down.
One of these award shows.
Pull up your pants.
Yeah,
It was very good,
Pull
Bill
up your
Cosby.
pants, and he was basically patronizing the entire black race.
Jeez.
It's just like the only way you can get to where I am is if you pull your pants up
And give
And
quaaludes
then,
to women.
and give quaaludes to women. That was like the main setup for the Hannibal joke that then took his career down.
Shout out to Hannibal.
But shout out to Hannibal, Bill Cosby sucks.
Did you know, I just was looking at the IMDb of this movie, and the first question is Monster House a kid movie? And it's no.
I would agree with that. I would say this is too much for.
I would agree it's not. I think it's too much. I think of like even on that first scene where not the first scene, but the first scene where you see that something is off with the house, where the shadow drags into his house.
Fuck, I love that
or his
shot.
bedroom
That was the
window,
best shot of the movie.
And then the hand comes up. That was the best shot of the movie. That was so fucking creepy. And I kept on going back and forth between like, oh, is this a kid's movie? Is it for adults? Is it for kids? Is it for adults? And then that scene happened. I was like, this
It's
is for
giving
adults.
Coraline.
There's no way
where
that
you're
a
like,
kid would
is
watch
this. For
this.
children?
I mean, you mentioned the joke earlier of they see a uvula and they go, "Oh, it's a girl's house." That's already.
Dan
Yeah.
Harmon.
But then it's
Yeah.
followed immediately by Chowder saying that he doesn't have a gag reflex.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just like, I don't have one of those. That's so good.
This budget was a lot.
What was the budget?
$75 million
Where did this is a money laundering scheme.
Wow.
in 2006.
This is a money laundering scheme.
Wow.
I refuse to believe. Where did the money go?
Oh, this was made in 2006? Oh, that's why it looked shitty.
And it made $141 million.
So it made $1 million in profit?
No, it made, well, you just have to split that with the box office. So what's half of, so it lost $5 million.
That's fine.
I didn't know if they were ever going to get in the house. This movie spends like half the time outside of the house, it being spoopy, you wondering what's inside. Were we ever just going to see this fucking tongue? And then finally the kids are like, all right, well, the cops got eaten. None of the adults believe us. We're going to have to go into the belly of the beast because the 14-year-old boy who's cool at the arcade said you got to go put out the fire inside the beast's belly, which is the fireplace in the house. And then they finally get inside the house only to discover some of the pictures of the old man and they find out he was a serviceman. He was in the army. He was in the explosives unit. He used to have a wife.
He has dynamite around the house.
Yep, just casual sticks of dynamite. They say that he
because that's
used
cool.
to have a wife, but he ate her. They said he ate her wife. And then they go down to the basement and they find the catacombs of his dead wife in the basement.
Again, fucking troubling for children.
Yeah. He trips and falls on a concrete like bulge coming out of the ground. And it's his dead wife's body.
And then, a really weird choice that this movie makes is that the way that Nebuchadnezzar
Scrooge
Nebuchadnezzar meets his wife is that she's the fat lady at a circus.
Yeah, and he saves her.
And so like I don't know why. And when they first meet, she's in a cage.
Yeah, and he's like, "I'll save you."
Yeah.
Calls her away, and he's like, "We're gonna build a house
He's
of
like,
our
"Let
own."
me get you out of
and
there.
Should we say what the big spoiler alert is? What's the lore?
Well, but why? Why did they do that?
I don't. Wait, this was 2006.
I mean, because to make it wild, to make it weirder than expected. I don't know. I don't know why they're making any
Tell
of
us,
these choices.
Garrick.
I don't know why they made the choice
expert.
to. Yeah, I don't know why they made the choice to make this movie in the first place. I do truly believe that if you're trying to learn Harmon's circle, that this is a perfect example of it.
I mean, you talk
But
about
other than
Dan
that,
Harmon
like,
is
it's-
obsessed with Joseph Campbell, and you said they go into the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
This literally has a belly of the whale moment where when they hit the uvula, the whole thing fills with water, and then they're expelled as if out of a blowhole from
Yeah.
a whale. It's like, it's
Big
textbook.
blowhole again.
Blowhole.
Cool.
Yeah.
The big spoiler of the movie is that the old man brought his new wife slash friend. We don't know. Did they get married? Sure. He brought his new wife to the land to break ground and build their own house away from all the people. And some kids show up and start throwing rocks at her, which is why she hates kids. And she falls backwards and falls down the giant hole and dies.
Cement mixer on top.
She gets buried in the house.
Horrific.
The monster house is actually his fucking wife's spirit eating children because she hated children because they were the meanest to her. What a reveal. It's like we think kids are the heroes.
Yeah.
They're the fucking reason for her trauma. This gets dark.
It's all
And then
about trauma.
The husband, it turns out, he's been trying to break the curse for 43 years, but his wife kept him in this abusive house relationship, wouldn't let him leave, and he needs help from the little kids to blow up his wife's spirit with dynamite
His wife.
in order to free himself.
Yeah.
Guys,
It's pretty good.
it's dark.
Is this whole movie about trauma?
Yes.
It's
You know, we talked
is.
about, we're talking about like why they made these choices, why they made this movie. So Kelsey, you didn't like it.
No, it's too scary.
Too scary. I wonder if I liked it the most of us.
Yes, you did.
And something that I liked but also surprised me is that it's a really economical story for animation. Usually the reason that you do animation is because you can go anywhere and do anything.
You can do so much.
And obviously you could not make this movie any other way. You have a house literally turned into a monster. It's really fantastical. But they get a lot of mileage out of it in a way that's cool, but like it almost feels like a low budget animated movie. I don't know. It's like to have an animated movie that just all takes place across the street, not
On
even in a
Halloween.
neighborhood, on one house. It's a house, the lawn in front of the house, and then the house. That's it.
Yeah.
It's really...
Because I thought the inside of the house was going to look gross.
For sure.
That's what I was like
He's a hoarder.
really hoping for. And then you only get that one scene of it opening its bowels. And then it goes to different places in the house, like the basement. It has like toys and like slinkies. And all that stuff. It's, like,
Did you
super
say
weird.
it opens its bowels or jowls? Because are you insinuating that the
Bowels.
kids went in through the asshole of the house of the woman?
That's
Yeah.
What?
Did you not get that? The tongue is
no,
the
I'm not- of course-
butt tongue.
Got it.
The butt tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it
No. Into the bowels of into the belly or whatever. When the green
I have the most
shit.
important question of this entire movie.
How does a house fuck?
Thank you for
Yeah.
for
He was definitely
assuming
fucking that house.
it does the old man fuck his house, and it's like, yeah, obviously he
So
puts
how?
his dick in a outlet. He puts his dick in an outlet.
You think it's an outlet? You think inside the house there's an outlet?
Yeah, that's her pussy, her tiny little electrical pussy, and he fucks it.
I feel like there's got to be a back door.
Yeah, it's her bowels. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's like a
The
vent
back doors,
that he fucks.
Yeah.
The splinters you would get.
Or-
You know how some basements have those little half
I just
windows?
think-
Yes.
I think that's
He fucks
maybe, yeah.
Zach, that wasn't even my question. That was not even my question.
It was a good question.
Okay,
though, right?
this is the most important question. Is this a Halloween movie? Just because it takes
Ooh,
place
I don't
on the
know.
day
What do
of
you
Halloween.
mean you don't know? What?
Oh yeah, it takes place
But
on
it
Halloween.
doesn't.
It is a
It
Halloween
doesn't
movie.
play
Yeah,
into
is
it
a
at
Halloween
all.
movie.
The only reason why is because it sets a timeline of we got to make sure we blow up this house before trick or treaters come.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not a Halloween movie.
So what to you is a Halloween movie?
More lore of Halloween. Why did you just laugh at me?
No, because then it's just like that's
Hold on. Miles just rolled his eyes and went like this with his hand.
Because you're being like, you want the movie to be about Halloween,
Yes.
not like a scary movie.
And it didn't incorporate trick or treating really. It wasn't masked. there was nothing about
You're
Halloween.
crazy.
Wait, it literally.
Oh my
wait,
God.
whoa. Okay, if that's
You're
the criteria, this is
insane.
absolutely a horror movie or a Halloween movie. Because in the beginning, he's like, "I'm too old to go trick or treating. I'm a grown up now."
But then the rest of the movie takes place on
Yeah.
what could easily just be a fall day.
and then the end, which Halloween is fall.
Okay.
Should leave changing.
Fine.
And then the ending.
it is a fall day. It is a random fall day.
No, trick or treaters are coming, and then the ending, he's like, "You know what, Chuffy? One more time," and they go trick or treating and run off into the streets,
I don't
having
think it's a Halloween
found
movie.
and maintained their childlike innocence.
It was convenient for them to do Halloween. I don't think it's a Halloween movie.
So, just to be clear, you don't think like all horror movies are Halloween? Like, you don't think Drag Me to Hell was a Halloween movie?
Oh, it absolutely was. I'm just kidding. It did. At least that had like lore in it.
There was a moment, first of all, there's a screenshot that I want where he goes, "I'm going home, I suck." And I need that screen capped because that's going to be my new go-to for everything.
Yeah.
But there was a beautiful moment where they're like,
I need that.
"You're acting like babies." And he goes, "We are babies." And I actually think that's really nice to have a character be like, "We're young."
My favorite part, because like we haven't really
Yeah.
delved into the writing very much. The writing is very funny and was probably my favorite part about this movie. And it opens really strong with like the parents are going out of town for the day, and the funniest thing, the whole movie, I thought this was the funniest part, is when they're pulling out of the driveway. The mom is trying to get the dad to say "I love you" to his son DJ, and the father won't say "I love you" to the kid, and you're just like, wait, what? He's like, "I don't need to say it. He knows. I don't need to say it. I don't need to say it." She's like, "Bye, honey. We both love you, especially your father."
I
And I'm
didn't
like,
say
this
that.
is a broken home.
Yeah. It's like it was also like very, very funny that he like pointed out that
Yes.
his voice was changing.
Yeah.
It's like, what was that? Did your voice
just
just do something
cracked.
weird? Oh, is it
Yes.
puberty time? I'm not telling
Yeah,
you I love you.
exactly.
Fuck you.
There was a great line from the babysitter. She goes, "I'm pretty sure whatever disease you guys have, or what is it? Whatever disease you guys have, I'm pretty sure it has letters and they have pills for it." Just a great
Not a
dig.
big deal, guys. 10 days of amoxicillin, you'll be fine. Anyway, so any fun facts for this?
Jesus.
Just to talk a little briefly about Jenny. She introduces herself by saying that she hates Mexican food. Fuck Jenny.
Yeah.
Oh.
Racist.
Fuck Jenny. Jenny's not a
No.
Californian. We can fully understand that this is not in California, not set there at all, because it's probably set like somewhere up north, North Dakota.
Yeah,
or
it was
some
giving
shit.
plain old New Hampshire vibes.
New Hampshire.
Never been,
Yeah.
don't need to go.
Yeah. You guys want some fun facts?
Fun facts with Zach's back.
Let's do it.
First, an observation. When Chuffy falls down in the construction vehicle, that dude is going to have chronic pain for the rest of his fucking life.
Yeah.
So the original script was much darker than the version that was ultimately released. For instance, the kids who were eaten by the monster house were actually eaten and murdered. They were straight up
sick.
killed. The studio wanted to maintain that PG
Damn.
rating. In order to maintain the PG rating, they also had to dub some different lines, such as they changed "Do you piss in bottles" to "Did you pee in bottles?"
I didn't realize that was such a hard line.
Hilarious.
I didn't know
You can
either.
say I enjoy pee play, but you can't say I enjoy piss
Can't
play.
say piss.
Ask me that again.
Sorry. Go on. Next fun fact.
Piss play. Apparently, this movie takes place in 1983. What the fuck? Says who?
I never saw a cell phone. Nice.
What?
Checks out.
No, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, because remember the house phone? The house phone looked like it was from the 80s.
Oh, that was a good moment. He gets a call.
Oh, that's
From
true.
he gets a call and he does star 69, which there's no way that shit existed in 1983, but
No.
whatever. And then he just hear a distant ring, ring, and he looks across the outside his window and it's the house. Oh, that was a fucking good ass
across
moment.
the street, down the corner.
That was a good.
Okay, this is wild considering how bad it looked. This film used 3D motion capture techniques. They digitally recorded physical performances of the actors.
What?
And then skinned them.
Skinned them?
With their animated forms. That is so stupid to know that they actually filmed it for it to then look.
Release the skinned cut. I want to see them actually live action.
We want the before skin.
Yeah.
Give us,
The before foreskin.
we want the foreskin.
good one.
Oh, that's really all I got.
Should we do our new segment?
New segment time.
This is kind of a revamping of Zach's original idea that we did in the very, very first episodes where you were, I forget what you called it, but Miles came up with a better name of.
My pleasure.
My pleasure is a segment where we go around and we all say the thing we are enjoying right now, whether it's a movie or TV show or book, perhaps a podcast we're reading and listening to. What do you got? What are your pleasures, guys? What do you rec to the peeps?
My pleasures.
Nice.
I finished watching Blackbird on Apple TV Plus. It's a short series. It's really good. It's like if you liked Mindhunter, it's like that, but just with one serial killer throughout. And it is a very cool like interview with the vampire type situation. Very fun.
I am reading / listening to, because I am an audiobook bitch, No Self, No Problem, which is a book that marries the neuroscience of thinking and ego and self with Eastern practices. And I think it's really dope. And it makes you realize that we're not anything. We don't even exist.
God damn.
It's really good. What's it called? I already forgot.
No body, no cry.
No problem. What about you, Zachy boy?
Okay, what a real bummer, Kels.
Nothing matters. Once you let go of that, life is actually a lot better.
There is a podcast recommendation I want to give. There's a show that I adore called Heavyweights, and I hadn't listened. There's like a season that I just hadn't gone back to listen to, so I am re-listening. It is a show about a guy. He's like a personal investigator for your life's minutia problems.
Which one?
Heavyweight.
Oh, okay.
From Gimlet Media. But I think the best introductory episode, the comedian Rob Corddry has this memory of breaking his leg as a kid. And there's no photos of it. And then he asks his family why. And they're like, Rob, you never broke your leg as a kid. You're making this up. And so he then does this whole investigation to figure out, was this real? Was this not? Super fun.
I've never heard of it, and I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Miles, do you have anything to add?
Me?
Yeah, you're part of this podcast.
Yeah, I've been getting back into Spider-Man after taking a hiatus from the Marvel Cinematic
Movies
Universe.
or comics? Cartoons?
A little
Toys?
bit of the movie, and actually, I watched the new Spider-Man with all the Spider-Mans recently, and I thought it was really cute. But before that, I played a game called Spider-Man Miles Morales.
What?
On PS5, and it's a really great game. And if you like Spider-Man stuff and you like video games, it's like the best feeling to like Spidey web around the city.
Oh yeah.
And I think that Miles Morales stories are just like, I don't know.
Cool.
Recently, I think they're better than Peter Parker stories, just because I think that there's like, I don't know.
They've told a lot of Peter Parker stories.
They've told a lot of Peter Parker stories. So Miles Morales is cool, and that game is good if you like video games.
Hell
Sick.
yeah. Well, now's the time we must decide, is this movie a pleasure, a guilty pleasure, or just plain guilty? Should you watch this movie, and why? I will tell you, and maybe I should shade this in, the caveat before we say this movie's pretty well rated. This movie was nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Wow,
So,
it was.
Critical consensus is that this is a fine film,
Okay.
but we're watching it,
Yeah.
almost 20 years later. What do we think?
Wow.
Yeah. After Inside Out has come out. And Into the Spider-Verse. So
I'll start. I'm gonna make up a new category for this month because I fucking can. I'm gonna name this one scary and I'm not going to watch it again. And if you don't like scary movies, don't watch it. Because, guys, this animated film gave me a tummy ache and it freaked me out. So that's my rating. That's what it is for this month.
I want to dig into that of why it upset you so much.
No, we just did.
What was it in their faces?
The lack of.
The way that they couldn't express themselves?
Yeah. I felt trapped. I felt claustrophobic. Like I was back in the trunk of that car.
Did you perhaps see something in their emotions that triggered a fear of yours?
You literally said this isn't therapy, so we're not. Okay. Rick, what's your answer?
Well, you're the one on the couch. But anyway, I think it's a guilty pleasure for sure. I think that the main flaw with it is how it looks. It just it can't keep up with today's animation. So if you go back, you're gonna be like, what the? Oh God, what am I even watching? It's like the scene in Sky High where they fight the giant robot, and you're like, oh my God, animation or CGI was so bad years ago, and we've gotten so much better. It's kind of like that, but just as an entire movie. So it takes you like 30 minutes to get over the fact that this is poor animation. And then you get to the story and you're like, okay, well, I guess this is a really solid story. And then you're like, oh, this is a solid written thing. And then you get to the end where they up the animation budget and you're like, oh, okay. So now I'm completely used to it. And it's impressing me, especially for 2006. So yeah, I would say guilty pleasure. Almost.
Ooh,
you can
touching the P a little.
Touch a light touch on the P. You can see the traces of what Dan Harmon wanted to do, and it's really kind of neat to see him play within the confines of a studio and these big producers. I mean, Rob Zemeckis is like he wanted to pioneer this CG mocap tech. But it doesn't all hit. It doesn't totally stand the test of time. So I'm going with guilty pleasure as well. I'm glad that we watched it, but maybe this one stays better in the past.
Yeah. Nostalgia in the archives.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's all she wrote. That's our spooky time.
Boo.
Spooky time.
Okay. I'm at Corny and all things.
I'm Kelsey Darragh and all the things.
I'm Garrick Bernard.
And we'll see you next week for another spooky movie.
She touched my butt.